And as of today, the Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre, the national preparedness level remains at level 1. Despite the situation in Western Canada, we remain hopeful for other regions in the country. Now, many areas have been fortunate to see heavy rain. If these weather patterns continue, other regions in Canada may not have the severe wildfire season that we had last year. However, that being said, thunderstorms can increase the risk of fire activity. So again, I urge all Canadians to begin preparations. Climate change is here, and it is real, regardless of what Pierre Poilievre might say. It is on our doorsteps, impacting our lives and livelihoods and threatening our communities. It is also costly. Climate-related impacts are now costing average Canadian households $720 per year today, and if left unchecked, it could increase to approximately $2,000 per year by 2050. In 2023, Canada's severe weather caused over $3.1 billion in insured damages. Now, you may hear Pierre Poilievre and his Conservative politicians downplay this reality and dismiss the science. What you will not hear from them is a plan to do the work to protect Canadians and tackle the real threat of climate change. Now, Canadians deserve and want a government that will tackle climate change and not leave the fight to its children or grandkids. And also, as I've already mentioned, this week is Emergency Preparedness Week. The theme is Be Prepared, Know Your Risks. When it comes to wildfires, the most important thing we can do is prevent through awareness and education. I encourage all Canadians to check out the Fire Smart program online. It can help you protect your home and community. For additional information, Canadians can also check out the wildfire pages on canada.ca for updates and access to government services. The reality of wildfires and climate change is especially dramatic in First Nations communities all across the country. 80% of the communities are at a risk of wildfires. And it is crucial we work in collaboration with them and support their self-determination because they know what's best for what they need. Now that is what we are doing through Budget 2024 by adding $166 million to better support communities prepare for and fight wildfires. We're also doing things differently this year by offering advance payments to all communities so they can prepare earlier, incorporating traditional knowledge in their strategies and funding emergency management coordinators in more communities. I also want to be clear today with Indigenous partners, this will be a difficult season, but we will be by your side before, during, and after wildfires. Our government believes in climate change, and we are acting on it, and we want to support your self-determination and leadership and not impose a one-size-fits-all solution on you. We're also committed to ensuring that Canadians can get the help they need in emergencies. To bolster our emergency response capacity, I would like to highlight a new initiative under the federal government's Humanitarian Workforce Program. This initiative will provide a wider range of response capabilities heading into the wildfire season, ensuring that non-governmental organizations can mobilize rapidly and surge in emergency responders and supplies to provide immediate relief to Canadians in times of need. Now, it includes the Canadian Red Cross, St. John's Ambulance, Salvation Army, and the Search and Rescue Volunteer Association of Canada, short, we call it SARVAC. SARVAC will have a new mission-ready group of approximately 200 volunteers from across the country that will be deployable for up to 3 weeks within 72 hours of time frame. The Salvation Army will be repositioning assets and supplies such as non-perishable food in 5 high-risk areas in BC and 2 in the Northwest Territories to allow for fast response if and when it is needed. And St. John's Ambulance has a roster of approximately 10,000 frontline volunteers and 5,000 volunteers for the Canadian Red Cross that remain ready to be called upon to help and support Canadians. To begin with, this pilot will focus on British Columbia and the Northwest Territories, given the heightened level of risk and recent experiences in these regions. I'm also announcing plans for Team Rubicon, a veteran-led humanitarian organization that will be joining the Humanitarian Workforce Program. This will enhance our urgent response capacity and leverage the incredible experience, knowledge, and skills of former Canadian Armed Forces members. We are also very grateful for the enhanced capacity provided by these organizations and their contributions to keeping Canadians safe, particularly as we deal with the increasing effects of climate change. So as we expected, this year's wildfire season is already taking a toll on Western Canada. Evacuations, poor air quality, distressing images can have a significant impact on the physical and mental health of Canadians. So I urge all Canadians to look out for one another. We are Canadians, and this is what we do. For local directions, follow local directions and stay prepared. We will get through this together. If you do not already have an emergency kit, visit getprepared.ca to find out what you need to build one and create a plan for your household and practice it. Finally, I would like to once again thank the many individuals who are tirelessly working to fight the wildfires and to keep us all safe. All Canadians owe you a debt of gratitude for your efforts. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. And now I'll turn it over to Minister Guilbeault.
Merci, Arj. Bonjour à toutes et à tous. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. The meteorologists at Environment and Climate Change Canada work around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to forecast all weather events across the country. No other federal institution is as present in Canadians' daily lives. The Canadian climate is warming about twice as fast as the global average, and we're heading for an increased risk of forest fires over the coming months. It's important to be prepared and to have the tools we need to adapt and be better prepared and react. Climate change is already affecting our climate, but also our reality and the way people in Canada live and work.
Canadians face a time of ongoing extreme weather events, and we are taking action. In addition to cutting the pollution that is driving climate change, we're helping Canadians in adapting to our current reality. Today, I would like to highlight an investment of almost $212 million in high-performance computing, which enables our Meteorological Service of Canada to predict future conditions, including those that lead to extreme weather events. Canada also provided $643 million over 10 years to help the Meteorological Service provide life-saving information on weather, water quantity, climate, ice, and air quality conditions across Canada on a 24/7 basis. I'm talking about higher quality data for all prediction, an increased ability to detect nearby storms, and better overall severe weather forecasting and detection. I should also note that tomorrow I will be visiting a state-of-the-art weather radar station just outside Montreal in Blainville, Quebec. It's just one of 32 newly modernized radars across the country, giving Canada a fully modern network of reliable radars with greater range and accuracy. These radars improve our ability to track and detect severe weather so that we can alert Canadians earlier about what is coming. Afin de prévenir la multiplication des phénomènes météorologiques extrêmes, nous devons également agir dès aujourd'hui.
To prevent more extreme weather events, we need to act now. We must adapt to the impacts of climate change we are now experiencing and stop adding to the pollution that is fueling this costly crisis for our children and their children. I will pass the mic to my colleague and friend, best for last,
Bonjour
Mr. Wilkinson. Hello, everyone.
We certainly talk about climate change a lot these days. The planet, as folks will see, is effectively burning up, and climate change is a significant factor. As folks will know, last summer, Canadians experienced the most destructive forest fire season in our country's history. The federal government is working aggressively to ensure that Canada is prepared to respond to wildfires this season and into the future. Mais de nombreuses leçons ont également été tirées.
Many lessons were learned on how to proceed and how to be better prepared for these forest fires.
Experts led a wildfire forecasting briefing to share what the data is telling us this wildfire season may look like. Unfortunately, this forecasting continues what has become an alarming but somewhat predictable trend of hot, dry summers that present the perfect conditions for intense fires. Spring wildfire activity is expected to be above normal in areas that have been experiencing prolonged, multi-year droughts, including eastern British Columbia, the central and northern parts of the prairies, and the southern parts of the Northwest Territories. Si vous vivez dans l'est de l'Ontario ou dans l'ouest,
if you live in the east of Ontario or the west of Quebec, you might have a forest fire season that is more active than usual.
Our forecast shows that the wildfire-prone area is likely to expand to cover most of the Northwest Territories, Yukon, British Columbia, and northwestern Alberta. This underscores the importance of wildfire mitigation and adaptation. This government has made significant and long-term investments since 2015. I would just highlight a few of those investments. Last year, we announced and then we fast-tracked agreements with provinces and territories to deliver over $250 million in equipment, which is supporting procurement of life-saving equipment and personnel for the 2024 season. We also announced $38 million to fund the training of additional firefighters and are on track to train 1,000 additional firefighters by the end of this year, which is 3 years ahead of schedule. And last month, I was pleased to announce an $800,000 increase in funding for the International Association of Firefighters to bolster their highly successful program that trains municipal firefighters to fight fires in the municipal wildland interface, which, as folks in places like Kelowna will know, is extremely and increasingly important. Dans le cadre du budget 2024, nous doublons les crédits.
The 2024 budget, we are doubling tax credits for the folks who have volunteered for those storms.
Fire Smart program. This includes $1.2 million we will be providing to the Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre, or CIFC, to increase staffing capacity and to build awareness of Fire Smart. This funding will help CIFC to support provincial and territorial efforts in expanding Fire Smart. As many folks will know, Fire Smart is CIFC's national program that provides information and resources to the public to prevent, manage, and fight wildfires. Its campaigns help to protect homes across the country from fires and educate the public about the shared role that governments and communities play in stopping their spread. Additional federal funding beyond the funding being announced today will be delivered on a cost-share agreements basis to increase Fire Smart's reach in partnership with provinces and territories. Several such agreements are presently under negotiation. More information on these agreements will follow in the coming weeks. The Fire Smart program recognizes the parts we all play in staying informed of the science and preventing the spread of wildfires when they occur. As a federal government that values science and is committed to supporting communities, we are there to provide supports where they are needed and when they are needed. Wildfires have always occurred across this country. What is new is their frequency and their intensity. And the science is clear. The root cause of this fact is climate change, human-caused climate change. That is why Canada has one of the most comprehensive climate plans in the world and why we are continuing to move forward on it every day. Certainly, government's most important priority must be to protect Canadians' lives and livelihoods. And increasingly, this starts with accepting the scientific reality of climate change and taking thoughtful, impactful action to address it. Canadians deserve and expect thoughtful action from their politicians about the risks that climate change poses to our children's future, to our economy, and certainly to our communities. That is exactly what this government has done and will do tomorrow and the next day and the next. So thank you for joining us today. Merci beaucoup.